Hey, I'm Emma. Welcome to Revenge Pulse, where every story hits different. Hit subscribe and let's dive in. The Christmas dinner started the way it always did, with my mother's famous prime rib and my sister Victoria's complaints about how expensive everything was. The caterer wanted $8,000 for New Year's Eve. Victoria sighed, stabbing a piece of asparagus. $8,000 for one night. It's highway robbery. That's what you get for hosting parties you can't afford, my brother Marcus said. He was on his third glass of wine, getting more confident with each sip. I was sitting at the far end of the table in my parents' dining room in the kids' table, essentially. Even though I was 34 years old, Victoria and her husband Brad sat with my parents at the main section. Marcus and his fiancée Jen sat across from them. I was at the end with my teenage cousin Sophie, who was glued to her phone. The caterer is worth it, Victoria sniffed. Brad's partners expect a certain level of quality. Brad was a junior partner at a consulting firm. Victoria acted like he was a Fortune 500 CEO. How's work, Nina? Dad asked me, the way he always did when the conversation lulled, like asking about my job was a polite obligation. Good? Busy? Still doing the tech thing? Marcus asked. Software engineering. Yes. Isn't that mostly guys? Jen asked. That must be hard. I manage. Nina's being modest, Mom said. She's doing very well. Aren't you, honey? I nodded and took a bite of prime rib. The truth was, I was doing exceptionally well. I was a senior software engineer at a fintech startup that had been acquired by a major bank 2 years ago. No one in my family knew this. They thought I made maybe $80,000. Maybe $100,000 at most. I'd never corrected them. Nina, speaking of work, Victoria said, setting down her wine glass. I wanted to ask you something. Here it comes, I thought. Brad and I are redoing the kitchen. We got quotes, and it's going to be about $45,000. We were wondering if you could help us out. Just like $5,000 or so, we'd pay you back by summer. I looked at her. I don't have $5,000 to spare right now. Oh, come on. Victoria rolled her eyes. You're single, no kids. You live in that tiny apartment in Cambridge. You must have savings. My savings are for emergencies. This is an emergency. Our kitchen is from the 1990s. That's not an emergency. Victoria's face hardened. You know what, Nina? I'm getting really tired of this. Tired of what? Of you always having an excuse when we need help. Your family. Family helps each other. I help when I can. No, you don't. Marcus leaned forward. You're always saying no. Always claiming you're broke. But you have a 6-figure tech job. You don't know what I make. We can guess, and we know you're being selfish. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. Selfish. Yes, Victoria said. Selfish. You make good money and you won't help your family. Meanwhile, Marcus and I are always helping Mom and Dad, always picking up the slack. I almost laughed. Almost. What slack are you picking up? I asked. We help with their bills, Victoria said. We contribute, we're there for them. You just show up at holidays and act like you're part of the family. Victoria, Mom said, softly. That's not fair. It's true though, Mom. Nina never helps. She never offers. She just takes. Takes what? I asked. My voice was very calm. Very quiet. Takes our generosity for granted, Marcus said. You come to these dinners, eat the food, enjoy the family, but when we need something, you disappear. I've never asked you for anything. You ask for emotional support all the time. Victoria sighed. You're always calling Mom, crying about work, stress, or whatever. That's asking for something. But when we need actual help, nothing. The table had gone quiet. Dad was looking at his plate. Mom was picking at her napkin. Brad and Jen were exchanging uncomfortable glances. Stop asking for handouts, Marcus said. He was drunk enough to be cruel. Stop pretending you're struggling. We all know you make good money. Just admit you're selfish and stop wasting our time. I set down my fork, reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone. Nina, what are you doing? Mom asked. I opened my spreadsheet app, the one I'd been keeping since 2019. The one that tracked every single payment I'd made to every member of my family. I want to show you something, I said. I turned my phone screen to face the table and started scrolling. December 2019. Victoria's car payment, $387. January 2020. Marcus's security deposit, $2,400. February 2020. Mom and Dad's property tax, $4,200. March 2020. Victoria's credit card payment, $1,200. What are you talking about? Victoria asked. I kept scrolling. April 2020. Marcus's student loan payment, $650. May 2020. Mom and Dad's roof repair, $8,500. June 2020. Victoria's childcare deposit, $3,000. Nina, Dad said, what is this? I looked up at him. This is every payment I've made to this family since 2019. Every time one of you called me asking for help. Every time you said it was an emergency. Every time you said you'd pay me back. I scrolled faster. Victoria's wedding venue deposit, $12,000. Marcus's car repair, $2,300. Mom and Dad's furnace replacement, $6,800. Victoria's nanny salary, January through August 2022, $18,000. Marcus's engagement ring, $4,500. That's not Marcus started. I have receipts, I said. Venmo records, bank transfers, text messages, where he asked, where you promised to pay me back. Victoria's face had gone pale. You kept track? Yes, I kept track. I scrolled to the bottom of the spreadsheet. Total amount paid to family members since January 2019, $119,463. The number hung in the air. That's, Mom whispered, $119,463. I repeated. Paid over 5 years. Not one of you has paid me back a single dollar. Marcus laughed nervously. Come on, Nina. That can't be right. I turned the phone to him. Want to see the breakdown? I can show you month by month. I can show you the text messages where you begged me for help, where you said it was life or death, where you promised you'd pay me back as soon as you got your bonus. You're being dramatic. Victoria sighed, but her voice shook. I opened my email app. Should I show everyone the email you sent me in March 2022 where you said you'd literally die if I did unpay for your nanny because Brad's bonus was delayed? Victoria's husband Brad shifted uncomfortably. I didn't know about that. No one knew about any of it, I said, because I didn't make a big deal of it. You all asked for help and I helped. Quietly, without keeping score. Until tonight, until you accused me of being selfish, of asking for handouts, of taking without giving. I looked around the table. You called me selfish. You said I never help, but I've given you $119,463 over 5 years. And tonight, you insulted me in front of the whole family. Nina, we didn't know Mom started. You didn't ask, I said. You just assumed. You assumed I was the selfish one. The taker. The one who needed to be told to stop asking for handouts. I opened my banking app, so I'm going to fix that right now. My fingers moved across the screen. Auto payment to Mom and Dad's utility account. Cancelled. Monthly Venmo to Victoria for expenses. Cancelled. Standing transfer to Marcus for rent help. Cancelled. I looked up. As of right now, the handouts stop. Then I did something I'd been planning since Marcus called me selfish. I pulled up my contacts and called my financial advisor. Stephanie. Hi, it's Nina Chun. Sorry to bother you on Christmas. I need to make some changes to my automatic payments. The table was completely silent. Yes, I need to cancel 3 recurring payments. First one is to an account ending in 4423, that's $850 monthly. Second one is to an account ending in 7392, that's $600 monthly. Third one is to an account ending in 9048. That's $1,200 monthly. Victoria's phone buzzed. Then Marcus's phone. Then Mom's phone, all three of them at once. They pulled out their phones and looked at the screens. I watched their faces change from confusion to understanding to panic. Yes, effective immediately, I said to Stephanie, and yes, I want to move that $2,650 monthly into my investment account instead. Thanks, Merry Christmas. I hung up. Victoria was staring at her phone. What did you just do? I canceled all automatic payments to this family. The $850 I've been sending you monthly since 2021 for what you call grocery help. The $600 I send Marcus for what he calls rent assistance. The $1,200 I send Mom and Dad for what they call household expenses. Nina, you can't just Dad started. That's $2,650 a month. Times 12 months. That's $31,800 per year. I've been doing this for 3 years. That's $95,400. I paused. On top of the $119,463 in one-time payments. I stood up. You want to know what's selfish? Taking over $200,000 from your sister and then calling her selfish when she doesn't give you more. Nina, please, Mom said. You're upset. Let's talk about this. There's nothing to talk about. You made it very clear how you see me. As someone who asks for handouts, as someone who takes without giving. So I'm going to stop giving. We didn't mean it like that. Victoria sighed. Her voice was small now. Scared. Yes, you did. I picked up my coat from the back of my chair. Nina, don't leave like this, Dad said. It's Christmas. Exactly. It's Christmas, and you chose to spend it insulting me. We didn't know you were helping us, Marcus said. If we'd known, you would have what? Ben grateful said, thank you. I shook my head. You knew, Marcus. Every time you texted me asking for money, you knew I was helping. You just didn't care. I walked toward the door. Nina? Victoria called after me. We need that money. Brad's bonus doesn't come until February. I stopped. Turned around. That sounds like a budget problem. Victoria, I'm sure you'll figure it out. You're really going to do this? Marcus asked. You're going to cut us off because we hurt your feelings? No, I said. I'm going to stop letting you take advantage of me because you showed me who you really are. I left. Behind me, I could hear them arguing. Victoria was crying. Marcus was yelling. Mom and Dad were trying to calm everyone down. My phone started ringing before I even got to my car. I blocked all their numbers. The next week was chaos. My email inbox filled up with messages from family members. Victoria sent a 2,000-word email explaining that she thought the monthly payments were gifts, not loans, and that I was being cruel for stopping them during the holidays. Marcus sent an email accusing me of trying to destroy his relationship with Jen by making him look financially irresponsible. Mom sent an email begging me to reconsider, saying that the $1,200 monthly payment covered their property taxes and they'd have to dip into retirement savings without it. Dad sent one line. We need to talk about this, like adults. I responded to none of them. Instead, I spent the week between Christmas and New Year's reviewing my finances with Stephanie, my financial advisor. You've been giving away roughly $32,000 per year for 3 years, Stephanie said, pulling up spreadsheets in her office. That's $96,000 in recurring payments, plus $1,19,463 pulgadas. One-time payments, we're looking at $215,463 total. Yes, Nina, that's a down payment on a house. That's early retirement money. She shook her head. That's a lot of money. I know. Why did you do it? I thought about that. Because they needed help, and I could afford it, but they didn't appreciate it. No, They didn't. Stephanie leaned back in her chair. What do you want to do now? I want to buy a house. I want to invest properly. I want to plan for my future instead of funding theirs. That's healthy. Is it petty? Nina, you gave your family over $200,000 in 5 years, and they called you selfish. I'd say boundaries are the least petty thing you could do. New Year's Eve, I spent alone in my apartment in Cambridge. I ordered Thai food and watched the ball drop on TV. At midnight, I made myself a promise. No more secret bank. No more silent generosity. No more funding other people's lives while they treated me like a burden. My phone buzzed at 12:07 a.m. Sophie, my teenage cousin. I wasn't going to say anything at dinner, but what they said was bullshit. I'm sorry they suck. Happy New Year? I smiled and texted back. Thank you. Happy New Year. At least, someone noticed. Mid-January, my Aunt Carrie called me from an unblocked number. Nina, it's Aunt Carrie. Hi. Honey, your mother is beside herself. She says you've cut off the whole family. That's not what happened. Can you explain it to me? Because I'm hearing about spreadsheets and canceled payments and a Christmas dinner that went wrong. So I told her everything. The 5 years of payments. The $119,463 in one-time help, the $31,800 per year in recurring payments. The way they'd called me selfish. Aunt Carrie was silent for a long moment. Nina, sweetie, why didn't you tell anyone? I didn't want to make it a big deal. You gave them over $200,000, and you didn't want to make it a big deal. I just wanted to help. And they never thanked you? Not after the first few times. Then it just became ... expected. Normal. They'd text me asking for money, and I'd send it. No one talked about paying me back. No one acknowledged it. Aunt Carrie sighed. Your mother called me asking if I could talk some sense into you. She said you were being unreasonable. Am I? No. Honey, you're being healthy. Finally, Mom thinks I'm punishing them. You're not punishing them. You're protecting yourself. Aunt Carrie paused. Nina, I need to tell you something. Your mother has been asking me for money too. I sat up straight. What? Since last summer, she's been calling me asking for $500 here, $800 there. Says they're having trouble with expenses. I've probably given her $6,000 over the past 6 months. Does Dad know? I don't think so. She always calls when he's at work. I felt sick. Aunt Carrie, they don't need the money. Dad's a tenured professor. Mom works part-time at the museum. They should be fine. Unless they're not. Unless they've been living beyond their means and using your money and mine too. Cover the gap. I pulled up my spreadsheet, looked at the payments to Mom and Dad. $1,200 monthly for 3 years. $43,200 total, plus one-time payments. Furnace, $6,800. Roof, $8,500. Property taxes, $4,200. Deck repair, $3,200. New window $7,800. $73,700 to my parents over 5 years. What are they spending money on? I asked. Your mother's been taking expensive trips with her book club friends. Your father bought a new car last year, a BMW. They redid their master bathroom. Nina, they're living like they have your income on top of theirs. Because they do. They have been for 5 years. Had Aunt Carrie? They had your income. Now they have to adjust. Everyone keeps saying I'm being cruel. Everyone who's been taking your money. You mean? Nina, I'm proud of you. You set a boundary. That's not cruel. That's necessary. After we hung up, I sat with that for a long time. Necessary. I know. Your mother showed me the bank statements. All those deposits from you. All those transfers. We stopped seeing them as help and started seeing them as part of our income. And when I stopped, everything fell apart. The property tax bill came, and we couldn't pay it. The utility bills stacked up. Your mother had to cancel her book club trip. I had to tell my department I couldn't attend the conference in Barcelona. He looked at me. We're selling the house. I stared at him. What? We can't afford it anymore. Not without your help. We're downsizing. Looking at condos in Needham, smaller, more affordable. Dad, I don't apologize. You didn't do anything wrong. We did. We took advantage of your generosity and we never even said thank you. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a check. It's not much. Just $5,000. It's what we can afford right now. But I wanted you to know we're going to pay you back. All of it. It might take years, but we're going to do it. I looked at the check. At my father's handwriting. At his signature. I don't want your money, Dad. Nina, I want you to understand what you did. I want you to acknowledge it, but I don't need the money back. We need to pay you back. We need to make this right. You make it right by respecting my boundaries, by not asking me for money unless it's a real emergency, by understanding that I'm not your backup plan. Dad nodded slowly. Okay. Yes. We can do that. And by telling Victoria and Marcus that they need to stop blaming me for their financial problems. Your mother already did. She told Victoria that if she'd managed her money properly, she wouldn't need your help. How did Victoria take that? Not well. Dad smiled slightly, but it needed to be said. May brought something unexpected, a letter from Marcus. Not an email, a real letter, handwritten, sent to my apartment. Nina, I'm sorry. Not because Jen left me though, that hurt. Not because I can't afford my rent though, that's terrifying. I'm sorry because I used you. For 5 years, I used you as a backup plan. Whenever I was short on money, I called you. Whenever I made a bad financial decision, I knew you'd bail me out. I never had to face consequences because you were always there. And then I called you selfish. I made you the bad guy. I blamed you for my problems. That was wrong. All of it was wrong. I'm seeing a therapist now. Jen said, I needed to figure out why I am so bad with money and why I blamed you for everything. The therapist is helping me understand that I never learned to be responsible because I never had to be. I'm learning now. The hard way. But I'm learning. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to give me another chance. I just wanted you to know that I see what I did. And I'm sorry. Marcus, I read the letter 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer and went about my day. Maybe someday I'd be ready to respond. But not yet. June brought a closing date. I bought a house in Lexington. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a yard with old oak trees and space for a garden. It was perfect. It was mine. The down payment came from the money I'd been sending to my family. The monthly mortgage was less than what I'd been paying in automatic transfers. My first night in the new house, I sat on the floor of the empty living room and cried. Not from sadness, from relief. This was mine. Paid for with money that used to go to people who didn't appreciate it. Built from boundaries I'd finally learned to set. August brought an unexpected visitor. I was in my garden, planting tomatoes, when I heard someone call my name, Nina. I looked up to see my mother standing at the edge of my yard. Mom, your aunt told me you bought a house. I wanted to see it. I stood up, brushing dirt from my knees. How did you get my address? Sophie told me. I hope that's okay. I didn't answer. Mom looked at the house, at Tay, garden, at the oak trees. It's beautiful, she said. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Can I see inside? I almost said no, almost told her to leave. But something in her face stopped me. Okay. Inside, I showed her the rooms I'd painted, the furniture I'd bought, the space I'd made my own. You did all this yourself, Mom asked. Yes. It's lovely, Nina. Really? We ended up in the kitchen. I made tea. We sat at my small table. I came to apologize, Mom said. Not to ask for money, not to make excuses, just to apologize. Okay. I knew you were helping us. Deep down, I knew, but I convinced myself it wasn't that much. That you were just being generous, that it was what family did. She wrapped her hands around her teacup. I never let myself add it up, never let myself see the real, total, because if I did, I'd have to admit we were taking advantage of you. You were. I know, and I'm sorry. Are you sorry you did it? Or sorry you got caught? Mom looked up at me. Both? I'm sorry I did it, and I'm sorry I didn't stop until you forced me to. What changed? Selling the house, moving to the condo, having to actually budget without your money covering the gaps. She smiled sadly. It forced me to grow up, Nina. At 63 years old, I had to learn to live within my means. How is it? Hard, humbling, but also, freeing. I don't wake up wondering if this will be the month you stop helping. I don't have to pretend we can afford things. We can't. I just have to be honest. I'm glad. Are you happy, Nina? Here in this house, away from all of us? I thought about that. Yes. I am. Good. You deserve to be happy. Before she left, Mom handed me an envelope. Don't open it now, she said. Just put it away somewhere. It's not much, but it's a start. After she left, I opened the envelope. Inside was a check for $1,200 and a note. 1 month's payment. 59 more to go. We'll get there. Love, Mom and Dad. I put the check in a drawer. Didn't cash it, just kept it as proof that maybe, someday, they'd understand. 1 year after the Christmas dinner, I hosted Thanksgiving at my house. I invited Aunt Carrie, Sophie, my cousin Beth, and her family. Small, intimate, people who'd supported me. I didn't invite my parents or Victoria or Marcus. At 2 p.m., my doorbell rang. Mom and Dad stood on my porch holding a pie. We're not here to invite ourselves to dinner, Mom said quickly. We just wanted to drop this off. And to say we're proud of you. For what? For setting boundaries. For building this life. For not letting us destroy you. Dad handed me an envelope. This is month 6. We're getting there. I looked at the envelope. At their hopeful faces. Do you want to come in? I asked. Mom's eyes filled with tears. Really? Just for dessert? I have people here. That's more than enough, Dad said. They came in, met my friends, ate pie, admired the house, and at 5 p.m., they left without asking for anything. Baby steps. 18 months after the Christmas dinner, Victoria called me. Nina, it's Victoria. I know. Can we talk? About what? About everything. About how I treated you. About the money. About us. I thought about hanging up, about protecting the peace I'd built. But something made me stay on the line. Okay. Talk. Brad and I are in marriage counseling. I had to tell him everything. About the nanny payments. About the grocery help. About how I'd been living beyond our means and using your money to hide it. How did he take it? Not well. He almost left me. But we're working on it. And part of that work is me making amends to the people I hurt. I'm not doing this so you can check a box in therapy. I know. Nina, I was jealous of you. That caught me off guard. What? You were always the smart one. The successful one. The one who had her life together, and I was the older sister who peaked in high school and married the first guy who had a good job. Victoria, I'm not making excuses. I'm just trying to explain. I saw you making all this money, living this simple life. I've been no debt, and I hated it. I hated that you had freedom, and I had golden handcuffs. So I took your money, and I convinced myself you owed it to me. I didn't owe you anything. I know that now. And I'm sorry. I'm working on building a life I can actually afford. A life that's mine, and part of that is apologizing to you. Okay, you forgive me. Or, okay, you heard me. Okay, I heard you. Forgiveness comes later. If it comes, that's fair. We hung up. I sat with it for a while, felt the weight of her apology. the genuineness of it. Maybe someday we'd rebuild something. But not yet. 2 years after the Christmas dinner, I got a promotion. VP of Engineering. $340,000 salary, $200,000 signing bonus. I didn't tell my family. Instead, I took the signing bonus and funded a scholarship at my old college for women in STEM from families that didn't support them, for women who needed to know they could make it on their own. Primera na merit, they boundaries and building scholarship. Because that's what I'd learned to do. Set boundaries, build a life, and never apologize for either one. 3 years after the Christmas dinner, I hosted Christmas at my house. Small gathering. Aunt Carrie, Sophie, now in college, Beth, and her family, and, after much consideration, my parents. Not Victoria. Not Marcus. Not yet. Maybe, never. But Mom and Dad had earned their way back. Slowly. Through monthly payments they insisted on making, through respect for my boundaries, through showing up without asking for anything. We ate dinner at my table, exchanged modest gifts, toasted to new beginnings. At 9 p.m., after everyone else had left, Mom helped me clean up. "Thank you for including us," she said. "You earned it." I know we did. And we won't take it for granted. Good. As she was leaving, Mom hugged me, really hugged me. Not the obligation hugs from before, but something real. "I'm proud of you, Nina. Not for the job, or the house, or the money. For knowing when to walk away. That takes courage. So does coming back," I said. "Not back. Forward. We're all moving forward now." 5 years after the Christmas dinner, Marcus reached out, not asking for money. Not asking for forgiveness. Just asking if we could get coffee. I said yes. We met at a Starbucks halfway between our apartments. He looked different. Older. More grounded. "I'm engaged," he said. "Different Jen. Better Jen. One who knows about my financial past and loves me anyway." "That's good. I wanted to tell you in person, and to tell you something else." He pulled out his phone and showed me his banking app. "I've paid off all my debt. All of it. Took me 3 years, but I did it." "Marcus, that's amazing. I couldn't have done it if you'd kept enabling me. If you'd kept sending money, I never would have learned." "So you're thanking me for cutting you off?" Smiled. "Yeah. I guess I am." We talked for 2 hours, about his job, his fiancé, his therapy, his growth, about my house, my promotion, my scholarship fund. "Are we okay?" he asked before we left. "We're getting there." "That's more than I deserve." "Probably, but I'm generous that way." He laughed, and for the first time in years, it felt real. 7 years after the Christmas dinner, I sat in my garden on Christmas morning, drinking coffee and watching snow fall on the oak trees. My phone buzzed, a family group chat I'd rejoined 6 months ago. "Mom, Merry Christmas everyone. Grateful for family today." Dad, "Merry Christmas. Love to all. Marcus, Merry Christmas. Jen and I are engaged." "Yes, I proposed again." She said yes again. "It's official now." Sophie, "Oh my God, Marcus, finally." "Congrats, Aunt Carrie. Merry Christmas." "And congratulations Marcus and Jen." And then, surprisingly, Victoria, "Merry Christmas. Nina, I'd love to see your garden sometime. I know it's been years, but I'd like to try. If you're open to it." I sat with that for a long moment. Then I typed, "Merry Christmas, everyone." Victoria, "Yes. Garden visits welcome in the spring. Bring coffee." Victoria, "I will. Thank you." It wasn't forgiveness, not quite. But it was a door left open, a possibility, and that felt right. Because that's what boundaries do. They don't close you off forever. They just protect you while you decide who gets to come back in. And on what terms. My phone buzzed again. A text from Sophie, separate from the group chat. You changed our whole family, you know. Everyone's better now. Healthier. Even Victoria is getting her shit together, all because you said no. I smiled. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to be used damn straight. Thanks for teaching us that. Merry Christmas, Nina. Merry Christmas, Sophie. I set down my phone and looked at my garden, dormant under snow but full of promise for spring. 7 years ago, I'd given my family $119,463 and they'd called me selfish. Today, I'd given them something far more valuable. I'd shown them what boundaries looked like, what self-respect looked like, what healthy relationships looked like, and slowly, painfully, beautifully they'd learned. Not all of them. Not completely. But enough. And that was more than I'd hoped for when I walked out of that Christmas dinner with my spreadsheet and my dignity intact. I raised my coffee mug to the snow-covered oak trees. 2 boundaries, I said quietly. And 2 building. The garden didn't answer, but I felt, somewhere deep, that it understood.